Welcome to Break Free to Brilliance podcast, empowering women in business through thought-provoking interviews and insights. Embrace your authentic power, explore the impact of your story, and discover how writing your best-selling book can amplify your message, authority, and the 3 I's: impact, influence, and income. Let each episode guide you towards brilliance in minutes. This is your host, Seema Giri. Another amazing episode of Break Free to Brilliance podcast, and welcome to 2026. Every year I say the same thing. I can't believe another year has passed. Although it took 12 months to get here, even though there are moments in 2025 where it felt like the year was taking forever, by the time January comes around again, it feels like it went by so fast. Do you feel the same way? This is my favorite time of the year. I feel like I'm starting on a clean slate. Although we can do this anytime during the year, the energy and the feeling about it in January is so different. Everything looks brand new, just like when it rains. All the buildings, all the area, the sky, the trees, the plants, everything looks brand new to me and nice and shiny. And that's what the new year, especially the first week, feels like for me. And it always brings in that same quiet question. How are we going to make this year better than the last and the best year yet? And I'm sure you're probably thinking about this. And it's not just about being busier, it's about being more aligned, being more meaningful, and more true to who you are today, who you have become over the past year. And that's why I think it feels like we're starting on a new clean slate. So the question when we're asking this question is not meant to be answered with more effort, right? It's to be answered with clarity, with intention, and with some thoughtful design. And that's what the conversation is going to be about today. And I'll share something with you. This year took me a lot longer than usual to come to my intentions because I didn't want it to be just like any other year. I wanted it to be more intentional, more specific. I guess the older that I'm getting, I want to make every moment count. And I've learned this over time that when something truly matters, it deserves space. So usually I would be like, oh my gosh, it is December and I haven't come up with anything. I've actually been thinking about it since October. I'd like to start in the last quarter, I've got a few things in place and few things I'm still thinking about. And when something like this really matters, it really deserves to have that space for you to really think about and create with intention. So if you're one of those who likes to have all the plan ready and still haven't, or if you're the ones who just start in January to think about things, it's okay. You're not behind and you want to really make things count. So take your time. But I guess in the next 2 weeks, I would say, let's come up with something. Sometimes people say, you have the first quarter to think about what you want to do. And I feel if you wait till March to do it, to me personally, it feels a little bit too late. But, by the 15th of Jan, you should have some idea of some of the things, the key areas in your life to set with intention. So the slower, more intentional process is what led me to the system I'm sharing with you today. So in this episode, I'm going to walk you through the system I use intentionally to design a year personally and professionally. It's a beingness-first system. I know it's not a sexy title, but it works. This is one that blends reflection, vision, courage, and action in a way that's grounded and sustainable. It's informed by powerful ideas by Mel Robbins, Tony Robbins. So I've curated this from these powerful ideas. So, in this episode, I'm walking you through the system I use to intentionally design a year, personally and professionally. It's a beingness first system. Okay, I get it. It's not a sexy title, but it works for now. So, work with me here. This is the one that blends reflection, vision, courage, and action in a way that's grounded and sustainable. Now, I didn't come up with this idea from scratch. I have gotten these ideas from Mel Robbins, from Tony Robbins, and the real Braden Shaw. That's his name on TikTok. I guess his name is Braden Shaw. I just wanted to make sure I'm giving credit where credit belongs. So it's about using your experience, your leadership, and your life, right? So it's about authoring your year. And if you're listening right now, I want to welcome you. Whether you've been part of this community for a long time or just finding your way here, your presence tells me something. You care about how you live. You value intention and you're willing to pause long enough to choose your direction thoughtfully. This space is for people who lead from the inside out, who want their work, well being, and life to move together. And I'm really glad you're here. This is my favorite time when I get to spend this time with you. So, before we talk about goals, and before we talk about habits, and before we talk about vision boards, we start with beingness. Beingness is who you are choosing to be, not on your best day, but in the rhythm of your real life. Here's a question I want you to sit with. Who are you choosing to be this year? Not what you want to achieve, not what you want to fix, but who are you becoming? For example, I am someone who leads with clarity. I am someone who leads. I am someone who honors my energy. I am someone who finishes what matters. I am someone who allows myself to be seen. Beingness creates your standards. Standards shape your decisions, and decisions shape outcomes. When your year is designed from beingness, everything else becomes simpler. Once beingness is clear, we reflect intentionally. One of the most useful reflection tools comes from Mel Robbins, the 6 simple questions. They aren't about judgment, they're about awareness. And sometimes it can be a little bit hard. But what I love what she said, this isn't a great tool. She says that to pick up your phone, open your photo library, and go through the year. You'll see all the moments that we are going to be talking about that you will discover when we answer the 6 questions. Okay, so the first question is, what were the low points of the past year? Remember, it's not to relive the moments, but it's just to create awareness. So understand, what were the low points of your past year? Second question is, what were the high points? So going through your photo library will really help you capture those moments, even those small micro moments that you were able to capture that you might have forgotten about. And the third question is, what did you learn? What did you learn from the low points? What did you learn from the high points? And the fourth question is, what are you going to stop doing? These might be things that did not work out for you. These might be things that it might have worked out, but you might not have enjoyed doing them. Or maybe it's just a time for an end. And then the fifth question is, what are you going to continue doing? So you're going to stop doing certain things. You're going to continue doing certain things. What are those? And the sixth question is, what are you going to start doing? There might be things you've been telling yourself, I need to do, and you haven't started yet. Or you might have realized, in order for me to get to where I want to be, I need to start adding some new things. What are you going to start doing? So those are 6 questions that really help you look back and understand your year. They become the raw materials for you to set your intentions moving forward. From this same reflection, there are 2 powerful ways to design the year ahead. So let's start with the first. From reflection, something subtle begins to emerge, and that is a pattern. You notice how and where you felt most aligned. You notice where things flowed for you and what supported you and what didn't. This is where we stop translating reflection into outcomes and start translating it into identity. Instead of asking, what do I want to achieve? You ask, what way of being do I want to live from consistently? This is where intentions stop being abstract and they start becoming orienting principles. So when intentions sound like this, they carry weight. This is a year of steadiness. That's a commitment to a different relationship with urgency. It's to a regulated pace, and it's to consistency over extremes. Or here's another one. This is a year of visibility with integrity. That's choosing presence over performance, truth over perfection, and alignment over approval. Here's another one, for example. This is a year of depth. That's discernment, right? You have fewer priorities, more meaning, and you're letting depth compound. So these intentions don't live on a list, they live in your decisions. They become the filter for your year. And for many people, this layer alone reshapes everything. But sometimes clarity wants structure. And if you're that kind of a person, then you want to hear this next. The third way to set intention also comes from reflection, but this time you want to translate it into clear execution. This is where I bring in Tony Robbins' RPM method. RPM stands for result, purpose, and massive action, because without that, nothing will happen. So from what you've reflected on, you now ask, what is one meaningful result I want to complete this year? That's the result. Why does this matter to me now? That's a question you want to ask. Why does this result matter to me now at this time? That's the purpose. And what actions would realistically move this forward? That's your massive action. You list them down, then you choose one action you can take in the next 72 hours. RPM gives you the intention and it turns clarity into movement. Now, this is where my system comes together. I don't choose between these approaches. I layer them. So reflection shows you what matters. Identity anchored intentions define how you want to live, and RPM gives structure to what you're building. Intentions guide your being, and RPM guides your doing. When these work together, your year stops feeling fragmented. At this point, you've done the internal work. And I also like to add this one aspect that I've heard from the real Braden Shaw. What I really liked is that he said, when he sets the intentions, he has a 3-step process. Step 1 is to come up with one big major thing that he wants to do for the year that would really set the year up for him. something that's going to be memorable that he's never going to forget. These are things like the bucket list items. And I was thinking about this, and I was like, that's a really great idea. So, for example, for me, the bucket list item is scuba diving. I have never done that before. I have never gone that deep in the ocean, and that really scares me. But you can bet on it that I will definitely talk about that forever. Just like when I did the fire walking I had taken Tony Robbins' in-person workshop, and we did the fire walking. I'm so proud of myself for doing that. And I did not think I would be able to go through with it. I had to really psych myself out to do it. But today I can proudly say that I am a firewalker. Something that really, really scared me, and I was able to get through it. So this can be added into the steps that I just talked about. Then he said, what I really liked is every other month, commit to doing something that you would never ordinarily do. So that creates 6 moments of the year of something that you would have never done. And that's creating memories when you do that. So for some of you, it might be dancing, it might be salsa dancing, to pick the forms of dancing. Maybe it's trying some new food that you've never done. I want to try African food. I've never tried that before. Maybe it's for some of you who haven't cooked before, maybe you cook. So it's like small things, doesn't have to be anything major, but something that you would not do. And this way, it's like an adventure you can create, and you'll know by the end of the year, you'll have some 6 wonderful new things that you have tried. And the third thing he says is to add one new habit every month that can take you forward in the things that you want to do to help you create what you want to do. It's really hard to, in January, we always say we're going to do these 10 different things, and then we falter off and we go back to the way we were before. But if you think of just adding one new habit that would really help you propel you forward, that's so much easier to do than doing the 10 different things that you thought about. So by the end of the year, you'll have 12 new habits that you would have mastered or at least started. So this is really simple. If you don't do anything else and you just do this, it's so doable. You don't have to track it as you would any other goal. It's top of your mind and really simple to implement. So now I have to think about what are those 6 things that I'm going to do. The one thing every other month that I want to start doing. One thing that I've been thinking about for a really long time. I've taken this before by myself, which is salsa dancing. But this time I want to do it with my husband. Whether it's salsa dancing or ballroom dancing, I want to get into a structured kind of dancing. This he had promised me we would do 28 years ago before I had my first baby. We still haven't done it. So I'm determined to get that done in 2026. So at this point, you've done the internal work, you've reflected, you've named how you want to live, you've clarified what you're building, and now the question becomes how you keep this alive as the year unfolds. This is where we move from clarity in your mind to reinforcement in your environment. And this is where the vision board comes in, not as an inspiration, but as an integration. A vision board works when it reinforces who you're becoming and what you're building. So here's how to create one that supports your year. Choose fewer images, one per life area. Put each image with the standard. I am someone who, right? And then let it reflect both intention and direction. And you want to place it where you will see it regularly, like maybe in front of your desk. Your vision board isn't a wish, it's a relationship with your future self. So if you do nothing else after this episode, I want you to do this. Choose who you are becoming, reflect honestly, name how you want to live, Take one intentional action this week. That's how years become intentional. And if this resonated with you, share it with someone who is still trying to set their year of intentions. I'm so happy you've tuned in and spent this time with me. I would love to hear from you. What are some of the best practices that you have used that helps you set your intention for the year and helps you create a year of design? I am always looking for some new great ways to incorporate in my own practice. So let me know. Lead with intention, trust your timing, and keep choosing the life that fits you. Until next time, this is Seema. And I want to take a moment to mention that the content shared in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only. My guests and I share personal experiences and real life examples that have helped us live our best lives, much like friends sharing stories. While we strive to provide valuable information, it's important to consult with professionals for advice tailored to your individual circumstances. Thank you for being part of our community, and thank you for spending this time with me. Remember, your story is your strength. Until next time, stay inspired and keep making a difference. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Break Free to Brilliance podcast, and I hope you had some key takeaways that you can implement right away. Be sure to subscribe to Break Free to Brilliance wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also follow along with us on social media using the links in the show notes below. We'll see you again for the next episode.